All right, so let's get this screen share rolling. All right, guys, so here's our announcements for today. Get out the regular, like always. That should not be a surprise. I extended due dates on the quiz and the test. So quiz 2 and that unit test, I extended those due dates until Friday. I thought that would help some of you guys out. Some of you are done, some of you are not. About a third of you are probably done at this point. Guys, like I said before a couple of you joined the call, you have to email me or come join my AO or extensions or math lab. There are literally 4 different ways listed on this screen right here of how you can get help. There is no way that you should be sitting there spinning your tires, which is a phrase of speech kind of talking about when you're stuck in the snow. So I feel like that's appropriate right now. But if you just keep pushing on the gas and keep spinning your tires, nothing happens, right? You don't go anywhere. So you need to get help if you're stuck on an assignment. So you need to come and get help from me. Madeline, great question about your masteries. Before we, so the short answer for how are we going to turn in tests or like revisions or things like that, I'm going to make a spot in Schoology where you upload those. Right now, I need to get things sent back to you guys. So those of you that have already done your revisions, you're waiting for a paper back from me. So I'm going to be emailing. I'm probably going to do that from home today because that's a pretty easy thing I can do from home. I'm at school right now, obviously. I'm going to go spend the afternoon at home probably and work from there. So AO, come do AO with me. But remember, we're not sitting in Zoom waiting. You need to like text us or whatever and say like, hey, can I get on Zoom with you? So just don't worry about that right now. I have not posted our mastery grades in MAP. So right now, you don't need to worry about that. I will get your tests back to you before I post any new grades. Math Lab for Math 7 is on. Sorry, I skipped over the Khan Academy update. I will be assigning your new work today. So for those of you who are all caught up, this is mainly work for next week, but I'm going to go ahead and assign it so you guys can start working on it. It deals with rates, which we're going to talk about today. Math Lab for Math 7 is mainly Tuesday, Thursday, but anybody can show up. One of your classmates in this class right now showed up to Math Lab this morning, and we did math for like a half an hour. And they got 2 assignments done, like 2 Khan Academy assignments to 100% just working with me. And I bet it was quicker than working alone. And even if it's not quicker than working alone, it's better. And the Community Help Doc, as a reminder, please use the Community Help Doc. That's Math 8. Even just this morning, guys, this problem got sent to me yesterday, and I made a video response. I don't know if anyone else has seen this problem from the quiz or the test where it's like, wait, what is going on? What about video frames? What about 3 2/5 seconds in the past? This seems like a really complicated problem. I have a 5-minute response video that walks through how we get to our answer and how we understand the problem, right? Not just how do we get the answer, how do we understand it? Because you'll see things like that on a mastery or whatever else. So please use our community help document. I updated this today saying that I am now putting the new stuff at the top. So you're going to start to see new stuff at the top and then the older stuff further down in the document. Aside from that, are there any other announcements? Are there any other questions about the announcements? While I give you that opportunity, I decided that I'm going to switch how we do our plan book a tiny bit. I'm going to write down my plan book with you. So in your plan book, what we would write down is next KA do, what's the date of next Friday? Yeah, the 11th. So the next Khan Academy is due December 11th. But then also, this week, WK can be used to abbreviate week. This week, there's a quiz and a test due on Friday. Right? They were due today, but now I made them due Friday. So this is a higher priority that this week there's quiz and test due Friday. So I decided I should write that down with you guys to make sure that you have plenty of time to write that down. And so I have it on my notes, so I know what I told you guys to put in your plan book. So now my notes for today, as we're ready to move on, we're going to do 2 more percent problems, but then our notes are actually going to be about rates. So I'm going to do percent, just 2 problems. So like final wrap, I'm just going to put final. It's like our final work with percents, unless we come back. And rates and ratios. And remember, guys, all of this stuff gets recorded. Drew, what's up, my man? Hey, Drew, are you laying in bed? Get yourself up, my dude. Don't make us do this. This is school. Okay, well, your head's down. Get it up. If you were at school like this, I would yell at you to get up. We should be seated in an academic position. Where's your graph paper and your pencil? Are you ready to take notes? Like, do you have something to write on? Because if you're in a bed or something like that, it's not going to work very well. All right. Guys, realize all that we can see about your world is what's in the rectangle. So if it looks like you're not in a good spot to learn or take notes or whatever, we're going to call you out on it. Because I think if you got on my Zoom and I was like lounging on a couch, you'd be like, wait, what? Like if I didn't have a document camera out or anything, like you guys would probably be pretty surprised by that. I have a teacher friend who taught his entire class through the chat. He muted his video, he muted his audio, and he literally taught through the chat to get his students to realize how horrible that is. Like when there's no video and no audio and all you guys do is chat with us. So remember, use the space bar to unmute, engage in the class. Really big announcement that I forgot to put on our announcement screen. So you guys should listen to this announcement, and I'm going to write it on my paper too. Khan Academy work. Actually, you could put this in your plan book. I'm going to make this in red because it's important. I'm changing my expectation. 80% will equal a check. So we have been striving for 83%. And I was telling people, like, you need to contact me if you're stuck at an 80 or things like that. So if it's a 5-question assignment and you get 4 out of the 5, right, you end up at an 80%, which is frustrating when I was saying get to 83%. So I will accept an 80% as a check. Okay? Questions on that? Sweet. Let's do some work. Sorry.
I was doing the last Khan Academy thing for this week. The unit quiz.
Yeah.
And I got 2 questions wrong, so I think that gave me like a 78. Should I ever do that?
Yeah, or come talk with me. Like, if you come talk with me about the questions that you got wrong, because I can pull up your report. I mean, you can either go back and redo it, like if you have things written down, you're like, I understand what I did now, or come meet with me. Guys, always your alternative option is like if you come meet with me, I might make a little note in my grade sheet, or we might just redo it together, right? I might say, hey, let's do these questions really fast to make sure that the next time we're asked to do questions like this, we know what to do. All right, so our notes page should have a date on it, right? And here's the problem that we did not get to on Monday. So guys, we need to go a little bit quicker, especially since it's already 10:15 and some of you guys decided to show up after 10 o'clock. Hey, Martin, what am I looking at, dude? Because it's not you. There. Oh, now I understand that that's a shelf with plants on it. I was real confused. Zoe paid $18.60 in tax and tips. So please write that down. So this is not the money for her food. This is literally part of it was tax paid to the government, and part of it is tip paid out to the server. Now, they tell us the sales tax rate in this city is what percent? Not sales tax. Yeah, 11%. What is the 20%?
The tip.
Yeah, how much she tipped. So Zoe, so I'm going to label this question in case you guys see it in your Khan Academy that this is Zoe's problem. Zoe paid $18.60 in tax and tips, and tax was 11% of the meal, right? Like we talked about yesterday, we were, or not, well, guys, when I say yesterday, it means the last day we had class, right? So both tax and tip are of the meal. So if we put them together, guys, what's 20% and 11% put together?
31%.
31%. Thank you. Hey, Lily, can you shoot me a message in the chat and let me just know why your camera's off? It's all right. Just let me know what's up. So 31% of the meal is how much she paid in tax and tip together. How much did she pay in tax and tip together? Lily, that wasn't what I asked for. What that looked like was you're able to have your camera on and you're choosing not to. Is there a reason for you to have it off? No, there's no internet issue or anything else. So you're making us do that thing that we asked you guys not to, right? We asked you guys just come on, respect us, have your camera on if you're able to. If there's a tech issue, let us know. But come on, Lily, I'm wasting time now. Just like having to make Drew sit up, getting you guys to turn on your cameras, that we shouldn't have to do that right now. And guys, like, okay, let's just take a pause. Martin, fix your camera. Isaiah, fix your camera. Charlie, fix your camera. I'm tired of you guys acting like you're afraid of us because you know us. You've been at Phoenix. The only way that we know if you understand what we're doing is by either you telling us, which you're all sitting there on mute, or by us seeing your face. So Martin, let me see your face. Unless there's a reason you guys cannot have your face on your camera, and then you need to send me that, I expect to see your face. More than your eyeballs. Martin, do we need to okay, Martin, stick around after class. We're just going to do that. Does anybody have any questions about the expectation that all of us Phoenix teachers have talked about with you? Because I think the rest of our class is probably frustrated that we're sitting here wasting time on this. When I'm staring at your ceiling, I assume you're taking a nap and not paying attention. Are there any questions about this? Otherwise, the next 2.5 weeks, I should not have to ask anybody to fix their camera. Are we good? Give me a thumbs up if we're good. Guys, I don't like doing this. I just want to show up and teach math. I just want to show up and do math with you guys. I got a couple of you guys that I can't tell if you're even listening to the Zoom or not. So that's tough, right? Please don't make our jobs harder than it needs to be right now. You and me. Don't make your job harder than it needs to be, and don't make my job harder than it needs to be. So what did she pay that was the 31% of the meal? The $18.60 they tell us about. So guys, this is set up almost backwards from what you're used to. You'd probably be used to us writing $18.60 was 0.31 times the price or something like that. This is the same as a problem like that. It's just in the other order because 31% is 0.31. Of tells us to do what? Yeah, multiply. Thank you for people that are willing to unmute. Even if you unmute late, it's totally fine. I still appreciate it. 1860. Now, what's that lovely CPM thing that we're going to make over here to get the M by itself or to just get one M? We're going to make a...
Giant 1.
Yeah, giant 1. I don't care if you guys are rolling your eyes at the same time. I just appreciate the engagement. So when we put a number over itself, and guys, you could just box this. We don't need to keep making giant 1s. But if you put a box around that to remind yourself, that makes 1, right? A number over itself makes 1. So we get 1m, but what haven't I written up here yet that I really need to?
Divide the 1860.
Yeah, divide on the right side by that same number. Grab your calculator. Should be somewhere close to your desk. 1860 divided by 0.31. What do you get? What do you get?
60.
Yeah, 60. So that would be the amount that her meal had cost. Or price, if we use P instead of M. Whatever you use as your variable, that's how much Zoe's dinner cost. So in total, with the 1860, she paid almost $80, right? She'll pay $60 for just the food. She'll pay another almost $19 for tax and tip. She's almost at $80 for dinner. Which, guys, if you go to a nice restaurant, you'll get there pretty fast. Questions on that problem that we solve kind of backwards. We're going to do one more of these before we dive into rates. This wasn't as easy as saying, here's what the dinner cost, here's what the tax was, figure out the tax, right? This was more difficult than that. All right, if there are no more questions on this, we're going to move on to one more that I want you to start trying on your own. Right, so this, you might have seen this in Khan Academy, but all because you got it right then doesn't mean that you remember how to do it. So let's set this up. First things first, write down what's important, but we have to figure out the original price, like we just did, right, Jocelyn?
I don't understand how, when she saying that 1860 was what she paid with tax and tip, how did we get the bigger number?
Yeah.
Question asking what she.
So my wife and I just bought a TV at Target, right? This is not a joke. This is real. Like, hey, it was Black Friday. I just bought a new TV. So let's say, I'm going to make this math real simple. Let's say I tell you I paid $21 in tax. Right? We're gonna abandon my slideshow for a minute to solve an easy problem. And I tell you that the tax rate where we bought the TV is 7%, which remember, rate should actually be a decimal. So what is 7% as a decimal?
0.7.
Ooh, careful.
0.7?
Yeah, 0.07. Thank you very much. So if we want to figure out what was the price of the TV, I made this math a little bit easier. We paid a little less than this. So I like I said, I tell you guys when I'm lying to you. This is not the actual math. I paid a little bit less than this. So we're going to set this up. If we refer back to our formula sheet, mine's in my binder. But guys, you should have your formula sheet somewhere accessible. Put it in a page protector. Go back and like watch the video again and copy it down again if you need to. Our tax formula said our dollars in tax equals the percent of tax times the original price. So I'm going to set that up over here. That the dollars in tax equals your tax percent times your price, which we'll call P. So the dollars in tax was $21. My tax rate was 0.07 times the price. Now, let's guess. CPM has this method I don't really love that's called like a guess and check method. And you guys maybe saw it in 6th grade. It was called the 5D process. We may or may not talk about that this year. I'm cutting out some things that aren't as necessary because I only get about half as much time with you guys. If our price was $100, what is 7% of $100? Well, okay, 0.07 times 100. Oh, well, that would only have been $7 in tax. So our price must have been more, right? What is 7% of 200, right? And I can keep doing this if I want to just try to guess my way there. And eventually I can guess the right number. if I just keep going up and like, but that's not a good process. To guess and check if it's right is not a good process. So instead, since we have the formula set up, we use what's called algebra, and we say, how can I isolate the price by itself, right? Because this P is our price. And really mathematically, instead of putting it in quotes, we put it in parentheses. Well, I can isolate that by dividing by 0.07, which will make 1P, and it divides on both sides. Now, the reason our value goes up is when you divide by a number less than 1, you go up. Division by a number less than 1 increases. So that TV was supposedly $300. We paid a little less. It was on sale, and my wife has a red card, so she saves 5% off every purchase. Some of your parents probably have a Target red card, and they could tell you, yeah, it saves them 5%. On anything you buy at Target, you save 5%. Does this make a little bit more sense now? Jocelyn, you feeling any better about this? Yeah?
Yeah.
Feel free to stop by AO if you want to do a few more of these problems. So this one is not as nice of numbers. I should really stop using the word like easy or easier even. These are just tougher numbers. Same math, tougher numbers. So they tell us Neil pays, I'm going to label this Neil. Guys, it's real easy for us to tell if you're off task. Like we know what humans look like when they're taking notes. Right, so if you're like watching Netflix or like messaging your friends, please come back on task. Neil paid $1.54 in tax. I forget if we might have done this problem another day in class. But I forget what I did with which group, so if you've already seen this problem, bear with me. The tax rate there, wherever he is 5.5%. So we know if we want to talk about tax as rate, we could put 5.5 over 100, which comes out to be 0.055. Because remember, percent means...
Over 100.
Yeah, percent means over 100 out of 100 for every 100. Try to solve this on your own. It's going to solve exactly like the problem we just did, except it's got different numbers. I'm giving you a little head start. I'm going to start writing where you can't see me writing. This is on purpose. Instead of using $21 as the amount of tax paid, what are we going to put on the left side? Well, not necessarily left side, but where are we going to put alone? How much did Neil pay for tax? Just shout it out. Yeah, $1.54. So the dollars paid for tax is $1.54. That's going to be set equal to 0.055. Guys, be careful. Trapdoor right here. A lot of people forget about this zero. Trapdoor, be careful. What are we going to do to get the P by itself? Anybody, we'll just do shout out again.
Like one thing, yeah.
Yeah, make a giant 1 in front of it. So guys, we're going to start to show our giant 1 by just a rectangle because it's way easier to write. So to make a giant 1, what do we divide by?
0.05.
Yeah, itself, right? You can easily could just say divide by itself, which I agree. Everyone who answered was right. We divide by 0.55. Sorry, I think I said that wrong. 0.055. Grab your calculator. Guys, do this in your calculator so that you trust me. Right? Like when we do this division, what'd you get? I think
28.
Thank you, Miriam. 28. So that was the price of the board game before tax. So that's another one of our solve it backwards, because the values they give us end up on two different sides of the equation. Guys, if you reference back to your formula sheet, all of these problems match formulas that we wrote down. Are there questions on this percent work?
How did you get the 28?
Literally punched this division. Sorry, I don't want to put it in a box, but this divided by this into our calculator. Here, I'll do it on screen so you guys trust me. 1.54 divided by 0.055. Because the number I'm dividing by is so small, that's why we're going to get so much bigger. So we divide 1.54 by 0.055 or 0.055, but it doesn't change the answer. We get 28. If you want the shortcut, and God, if this doesn't make sense, please don't use the shortcut. But the shortcut that some students will ask, well, wait, is this like a rule? We took the tax paid. I'm going to write this out, although I don't really want to. I'm going to write this out. It might help some of you. To get the original price, we take the tax dollars and divide it by the tax percent. That's what we did, except remember, we can't actually use the percent value. We use the decimal value of it.
Sorry, my thing was choppy, so I had to leave it. Have you ever tried to put Pac-Man on your calculator?
Yeah, I used to have the worm game where you'd like eat the dots and try not to eat yourself and things like that. All right, I'm going to switch what color graph paper I use because I think this red line graph paper works better for my document camera. So we are switching gears. We are going to go into averages. Sorry, I forgot that we were going to talk about this. We're going to talk about averages, so like the mathematical mean. And then we're going to talk about rates and ratios. So the first thing that you should write down on your paper, if you like squiggly line or start a new page, is mean. Some of our math problems now are using this word mean. Who can tell me what mean is?
Average?
Yeah, and it's up on the screen, right? Mean is the mathematical average. Mean is the mathematical average. To calculate mean, it's the sum of the set, and the set is just whatever numbers you're given, the sum of the set, divided by the amount in the set. So, for example here, we have Fatima's science experiment. So I'm going to label my paper Fatima. And I'm actually going to minimize this for a second and drag this up. So the values that we have here, now this problem confused some of you just because how it was set up. Each person A, person B, person C, is testing 4 glasses of water. They're asked to estimate what the temperature of the water is. If their guess is above, it's a positive number. If their guess is below, it's a negative number. So to find our mean here, we're going to add up all of the numbers. So -3 plus -1 plus 0 plus 2. I don't know why I put that comma there. Plus, I'm just going to do each person separately. 4 plus -4 plus 2. Somebody with a calculator could also just punch all these into a calculator. And then person C was 8. -2. I keep putting commas instead of pluses. 5 plus 1. And then divided by how many numbers we have. Well, how many numbers we have is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. There are 12 numbers in our set, so we're going to divide by 12. So we carry down our work. And somebody in a calculator, please add all these up. You could add all the negatives together and then add all the positives together and then go from there. Actually, a few people, please add these up.
9.
What'd you get?
I got 9.
Anyone else get 9?
I got 9.
One more person and we'll believe it to be true. Anybody else? So here's what I did. I put my negatives together. 3, 1, 4, 3, and 2 were my negative numbers. Figured out that that was -13. And then I added all my positives to that, and I also got 9. So I'm going to agree that our sum up on top was 9 divided by 12, meaning that our, well, I can just simplify that, right? 9/12 is 3/4, or if we want a decimal, 0.75. Now, if you can believe it, that one was actually one of the easier average, well, mean problems that we did. The really difficult one that I want to make sure we have time to show you is this one. Everyone read this problem for just a moment. So this is Elliot's bank account. Now, here's what makes this problem so complicated. There's a lot of math we have to do outside of just the numbers they give to us. So they ask us for what is the average daily balance. So please write down, because I don't think I put it on my slide. They want us to answer what is the average, or mean, right? Average means mean. Average daily balance. Sorry, my balance looks real weird there. My pen got a little caught. So guys, here's one way that we could do this. We could say there are 30 days in June. Let's list out what the balance was every single day. So on June 1, the amount of money he had in his bank account was what? What is the starting balance in the bank account?
1,223.
Yeah, 1223, right? 1,223. On June 2, did that change? No, he didn't do anything. So guys, this is why this problem's complicated. You haven't had a bank account yet. Deposit means he puts money in. Withdrawal means they take money out. Guys, I'm telling you, this problem is on your unit test. I can't guarantee that every one of you sees it because the problems are randomized, but you'll be real sad if you see this problem and you didn't write down any work or like pay attention to help solve it. Because what Khan Academy also will do is change the numbers on you. It'll be the same problem but different numbers. So please, please, please pay attention and listen right now. June 2 would be the same balance. June 3rd would be the same balance. Nothing's happening. June 4th would be the same balance. And we could do that all the way up to June 10th when he makes a deposit. So if you make a deposit and that's putting money into your bank account, what should I do with my 1223 to figure out the new balance? Yeah, I love you guys all talking over each other. We add 615 to it, right? So that'd be 8, 3. Yeah, 1,838. And that would be the balance on day 11 and day 12 and day 13 and day 14. But then on day 15, something happens. And we don't necessarily have to write all this work down. I'm just helping you guys see how we could solve it. On day 15, he makes a withdrawal. So what do we do to make a withdrawal? Yeah, subtract it. I'm scared, so I'm going to use a calculator. 1838 minus 63, what do you guys get? I get 1775. So, guys, here is where I'm going to jump a little bit and say, okay, day 16, day 17, day 18, all of those days in between have the same balance up until June 22nd when we make another withdrawal of 120. So take your account balance down by 120 now. What's our new balance?
165.
Yeah, 1,655. And it is that balance all the way to June 30th. Now, here's where this problem is really difficult and why I wanted us to do it together. To find the average daily balance, we're going to have to do the sum of all 30 days divided by the 30 days in June. But there's a quicker way to get the sum of all the days. I could do 1223 plus 1223 plus 1223. Instead of adding over and over again, what could I do?
Multiply.
We can just multiply, right? So I'm going to do 1223 times however many days had that balance. Guys, if we started on 1 and went up through, we didn't get to 10. What was the day before 10? 9. So we spent 9 days at a balance of 1223. How many days did we spend at a balance of 1838?
4.
Ooh, careful. 5, right? This is the danger. I got a bunch of those.
Do we need another box?
I mean, we probably don't need another box. We barely use them now because I use Desmos.
Did you even throw them out?
Let me check with Tom and make sure no like elementary schools use those. They're fun, like for when you draw a picture and then like set it in the middle and it reflects it. Hey, have any of you guys used mirrors in elementary school? There are these little red things that reflect. You set them down on your paper and it like makes a reflection. Nate has. Maybe a couple people. Yeah, let's check.
I have.
What about the circle rubber band board thing?
I like those when there's time to play with like different triangles and stuff like that. Like this year, it'll be impossible, but I mean, I'm bad. I'm a bad person to ask, should we throw this away? I'm a really bad person to ask that.
Okay, that one might be scary.
I have some, no matter what. Crap, this bracket should actually go down to here. Sorry, Mr. Smith's distracting me. If we go, starting on day 15, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, how many days did we spend at the balance of 1775?
6.
More than that. Guys, here's what's going to get you messed up. 15 to 22, we have to count 15. So it's not 22 minus 15. It's actually 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Wait. 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. Day 22, the balance is different, right? So we get 17. So we could do 22 minus 15, but we could not do 21 minus 15, right? The last day we spend at that balance is 21. Now, here's why I bring that up. Down here, we cannot do 30 minus 22 because 30 is a day we spend at that balance. 22, we changed balance, but this all stays the same. So if we do 30 minus 22, you're going to get 8. 8's wrong. It's 9 days here. Because if I go 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30 is 9 days. So we spend 9 days at 1655. Or I could have just gone through and added up every single day if we really wanted to. $18.38 times 5 is $91.90. I hope I got some people doing this math with me. So, guys, here's what we're really doing if you need to see it in another way. We took the ledger and we broke it apart. And again, this will be in the video, right? This will go up on YouTube, and I'll get you guys out of here in the next couple minutes. We broke the ledger apart, and we said how many days were we at each balance. Sorry, that's my next class showing up. And now we multiplied to find the totals because we want the entire sum. So now we take that entire sum. I got rid of that other slide. I thought I had one more slide about this. We go back up to what we knew we had to do. Sum of all 30 days divided by 30. So mean. Well, I got to add all of these up. So on our calculator, right, 11,007. We add up all of the balances. I get 47,517. Divided by how many days were in June? $30, right? So we divide that by 30. Yeah, I got a couple right answers in the chat. So if we divide that by 30, we will get 1583.9, which money needs that second decimal place. And we will round, well, not round, we will add on that 0 to get our second decimal place. So guys, we're out of time. I know that I went right up to 50 and I'm only giving you a 10-minute break. Because this is probably the hardest problem you're going to encounter on that Khan Academy unit test, which is why I wanted to go over it with you. On the unit test, you've got to answer a substantial amount of problems, right? They cover the whole unit. So some of them are like fraction, decimal, percent, conversion, like addition problems, right? Some of them go back to stuff that we did like a month or even 2 months ago. Please do not rush on your unit test. Now, we didn't get to the new content that I wanted to, so as you start doing the new work, here's what I'll say. What I was about to teach you is about rates and unit rates, right? That's what the new work is about. I'm not necessarily going to assign the videos for you to watch because we're going to do that in class. But if you go to work on next week's work, you might need to choose to go watch a video so you know what you're doing. Does that make sense? Like, if you don't come to class again, like you have class on Monday again. On Monday, we're going to teach you about rates and unit rates. If you do that homework today, you'll need to do some learning on your own. So with that, you guys can get out of here. Have a wonderful day. Stick around if I asked you to, or if you need to ask a question or anything else. And otherwise, I will see you guys later.